What's up guys, my name's Tom and welcome back to the FPL Centre. It's Fantasy Champions League time yet again, and for those of you who watched the latest video on the wildcard strategies and the player price changes, you'll know that I'm on my wildcard this week. I've activated that, so we're just going to have a quick look through the team that I've selected at the moment. It is still kind of likely to change here and there. So yeah, we'll just get straight into it. For those of you who are liking the Fantasy Champions League content, make sure to give the video a thumbs up, get yourself subscribed if you're new here, and obviously hit that notification bell as well so you know when the latest video drops. But yeah, let's get straight into it and have a look at the wildcard team. Okay, so this is the team. Going through the goalkeepers, I've actually stayed with Robin Olsen and Guillaume as the two goalkeepers there. I like that rotation pretty much through the entire group stage, so I'm not going to touch that. It's worked okay so far, not the best. The only option as an alternative that I would really go for would be Robin Olsen with Farman from Schalke, but I'm not as keen on that one because he plays Porto in matchday 5. And obviously I'm going to be lining up here with a few Porto players, so it seems to make more sense for me to line up with Guillaume there and go after a bigger ceiling. By a bigger ceiling, obviously I mean not having, a striker playing against a goalkeeper and potentially cancelling out the points that you might make there. In defence, we're looking at a couple of different teams that have, particularly nice fixtures over the next few games. First up is Robertson of Liverpool. Obviously he's performed fantastically well in the Premier League. For those of you who are also playing FPL, you'll know how consistent he's been as a performer there. And with 2 games now back-to-back against Red Star Belgrade, I think that's a likely chance of 2 clean sheets, and potentially, with him bombing forward on the left-hand side, there's a chance of some attacking returns as well. Similar story with Benjamin Mendy, another amazing performer in the Fantasy Premier League. He'll be getting through for Man City on the left-hand side with 2 back-to-back games against Shakhtar. Following that, they have a game against Lyon where I expect them to be kind of a lot more solid than they were in the first game. So again, matching up with those guys, we have Alex Telles, who keeps his place in the original lineup. He's done well, obviously, in matchday 1. He was unlucky to miss a penalty, could have had a big score there. In matchday 2, he actually did get a clean sheet and an assist, which was very nice. So no reason to sell him, I think, with back-to-back games for him against Lokomotiv Moscow, and then Schalke coming up in matchday 5 as well. Then that's a nice little asset to have there. So 3 left-backs. And the 4th left-back, also in a starting position there, is Gaia of Valencia. Picking him due to the back-to-back games against Young Boys. Valencia, they're not a team that I'm really looking at for much outside of this kind of 2-game stint. But I don't think Young Boys have very much chance in those games of winning. They could score, which would obviously ruin the clean sheet I'm after. But Valencia managed to keep Man United at bay at Old Trafford. So I figured they could line up and potentially get a 1 or 2-0 win in both legs there. And a couple of clean sheets from Gaia would be very nice. So that's what I'm looking at there. And then finally on the bench there you can see Nagatomo. He also keeps his place in the side as a 4 million kind of enabler option. Not really expecting to have to use him, other than maybe, in matchday 4 he might start because he plays the first round of games. But I'm expecting him to kind of be on the bench or subbed out if he concedes or if he doesn't do anything. I'm not really expecting much. He's just there to kind of make the money available for elsewhere basically. In midfield, as you can see, we've changed things up as well. We've got Mohamed Salah as our kind of big hitter with the back-to-back games against Red Star Belgrade. Obviously scoring on the weekend in Liverpool's 1-0 win over Huddersfield. Nice to see him find the back of the net. It was a pretty nice finish, where he did miss a couple of other chances. One in particular that he should have scored. I'm happy with him going into those games, and he's going to be a kind of like alternative captain option, I think, because I can see Liverpool winning those games by a few goals, 3 or 4, potentially even 5, and Salah should obviously be in on the action. For those of you who are wondering why I didn't go with Mane and obviously save a couple of million in the budget there, there's the fact that he's got that thumb injury. He missed the game on the weekend. He might be okay. He probably will be okay for the game on Tuesday in the Champions League, but I just don't want to take any kind of risk around that if Klopp decides to kind of keep him rested for one more game and let Shaqiri get another little run out So yeah, I just figure Salah's the safer bet, having seen him already play and score on the weekend. Sterling also comes in. He was rested on the weekend for Man City, presumably because Pep wants to use him in the Champions League and didn't want him to have any kind of burnout following the international break. So Sterling comes in. I can see City winning the 2 games against Shakhtar pretty comfortably. And Sterling, so far this season, has been in great form in the Premier League. And I think it's only a matter of time until that carries over into the Champions League. So I'm hoping that comes over the next couple of games. Mazraoui from Ajax comes in basically as an enabler in midfield. He's only 5 million. He's got back-to-back games against Benfica, and he's done okay so far. I think he picked up an assist in the last game that Ajax had against Athens. And yeah, just an enabler. I'll put him in there, see what he can do against Benfica. If he does something like pick up an assist or a goal or, contributes in some way, I can leave him in there. If not, I can sub him out. Otavio on the bench there is another one who will come in for Mazraoui if needs be. And obviously, Porto are a team that I've tried to target throughout the group stages for various reasons, and that's not really going to change. I still think they're the favourites to win the group, and with back-to-back games against a Lokomotiv Moscow side who's turned out to be the weakest in the group, I can see some potential points there for Otavio in midfield. Not expecting him to go crazy, but maybe an assist in one of the 2 games would be fine for me. And finally, on the bench there at the moment is James Milner. He's in there because, Liverpool have got easy games against Red Star Belgrade. He likes to chip in here and there with an assist, and obviously if he's on the pitch, he is the penalty taker. So if anything happens around, the penalty box, if Red Star give up a penalty, Milner should be in line to pick up a goal from that kind of situation. So yeah, again, an enabler along with Mazraoui there, just to allow me to spend the big money on the guys like Salah and Sterling, combining then with my strike force, which is made up of Edin Dzeko with back-to-back games against CSK in Moscow, Marega there for Porto, again, like I say, targeting that group and Porto in particular because I think they are the favourites to win it, and Lewandowski, who has the back-to-back games against Athens. There might be some people out there wondering why I've only got the one Munich asset. I know some people are thinking about Arjen Robben in the side. He is one of the options that I am looking at potentially instead of Sterling and freeing up some money to upgrade elsewhere. But at the moment, the reason I'm going this way is Lewandowski is the one I'm banking on to get the goals. I'm hoping that, he gets like a brace or a hat-trick in one of the 2 games and maybe a goal in the other game. And then I just need Sterling or Salah, whoever it is, to outscore Robben. I don't want Munich defenders necessarily because they haven't looked that solid this year, either in the Champions League or in the Bundesliga so far. And also that's probably the case, a lot of you might be wondering why I don't have any Real Madrid players in the side. And again, that's kind of very similar, is the fact that they are coming into this one in pretty bad form domestically. Also, they lost the game against CSK in Moscow last time out in the Champions League. So, I don't know, it's not something that really appeals to me. Obviously, it would have been lovely to target the Pilsenia fixture there for Real Madrid, but I'm just not sure how much investment that I want, especially when you can put together a team that, has very in-form players, defenders that are looking like they're playing for teams that are very solid at the back, midfielders that are playing in very attacking roles for very attacking teams, and strikers who are in better form and actually converting chances. I'm not sure that I would want Bale over Dzeko or Benzema over Dzeko at the moment. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, guys. I'm always happy to get feedback. Let me know what you think of the team. This is probably going to be the lineup for this week and next week. There's obviously the option to use a couple of free transfers between match days 3 and 4, but this is likely to be the core of the lineup there for those 2 games. And then in match day 5, I'm hoping to have 3 free transfers with 1 saved from match day 4 going into match day 5, so that I've got 3 free transfers on match day 5 to make any kind of necessary adjustments there. And then, as you know, the plan is to use the limitless wildcard then in match day 6. So there we go, guys. If you liked the video and you want to see more Fantasy Champions League content, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and get yourself subscribed if you're not already. Also, make sure to hit that notification bell. You can follow me on Twitter at FPL Centre for regular updates on my fantasy teams in both FPL and Fantasy Champions League. Make sure you also follow FPL Matador. He's a veteran of the Fantasy Champions League game with regular finishes in the top 1000. He regularly tweets valuable information such as predicted team lineups and is more than willing to answer any questions you might have on the Fantasy Champions League game. And finally, if you want to read Fantasy Champions League content in the written word, make sure you check out at FPL Forum on Twitter, who is releasing a series of great articles for this season's Fantasy Champions League game. But that's all from me today, guys. Thanks for watching.